Welcome to Revelland. My name is Esther and I'll be your host today. In this video series, we show you how to be creative, imaginative, inspiring, and transform how you think about your music and gigs forever. Let's transform your live show into an immersive experience that is open to everyone. To make sure this video series is accessible to people with various disabilities, we'll use visual descriptions. My name is Esther, I'm the host for this tutorial. Behind me there is a brick wall. I'm surrounded by lots of colour and flower. We've got lilies, we've got all sorts here. They've really pulled out all the stops. I'm wearing a navy dress with red and white embroidery. I've got some Pirates of the Caribbean gold hoops on. I've got short, dark black brown hair tied behind me, and I am joined here by Adam Thomason, who is a chef and co-creative director of Flavour&Some. Adam, thanks for joining us today. Tell us about some of the work Flavour&Some do.
I'm Adam Thomason, a chef that's super passionate about creating flavour from anything from a simple dish all the way through to an exquisite tasting menu. But more than just restaurant food, it can be based around items and ingredients that could evoke emotions and senses. So from my passion, I create food that's not necessarily just a beautiful dish on a plate. It could be an experience in one mouthful, or it could be just showcasing beautiful ingredients.
So for someone who's just starting out, how would they layer a taste element into the live experience?
I always start from ignore the ingredient, ignore the food, work out what you want the guest to experience first. So if you can say, I want it to be awkward, I want it to be fast, I want it to be sharp, I want it to be shiny, if you can describe the emotion or the sense that they want to feel, then you work back to the ingredient or the flavor or the way that smell or taste is going to be implemented. So for me, working backwards to what you want. So if you want, if you've got like a really dark and deep part of the music, something sticky and thick and a bit uncomfortable in the mouth is a potential taste or flavor that could enhance that. And therefore you would go, okay, so what's sticky? Well, maybe something like a toffee sauce. And what is like uncomfortable? Well, it's a contrasting flavor. So I might go down like a licorice and mint route, which contrasts against each other. So now you've got a licorice and mint sticky toffee, which might be quite like treacly, that leathers the palate, which could be quite uncomfortable, which could in turn enhance the music or enhance the experience that you're trying to put into into the event.
Can you give us an example of a project you worked on that involved the element of taste?
Oh yeah, so there's a wonderful company, BitterSuite, that has created some incredible experiences, and we've had different tastes where we had to make something really shiny, and we've had it pop and burst with the flavor in your mouth, and that's like fresh and citrusy and all kinds of like alive flavors coming through. But then later on in the show, it had to be really uncomfortable, so we administered the taste through a syringe. And when you're blindfolded, having a syringe popped in your mouth and then injecting the flavor in made a complete different feel to how that taste was put onto the show. So those two different ways just worked really, really well there. And that was on small scale, 30 covers, 30 guests, really, really unique. And then from another perspective, I've done one in an arena where we were doing a conference, and we put the flavor into the aircon system. So we had an egg and bacon flavor into the aircon, so that at this conference, every single person walked in and arrived, and the conference was about breakfasts and croissants and bacon sandwiches, and it was a foodie conference. But every single person walked in, it was a cold winter's day outside, so the aircon was on quite high, and all we were doing was pumping the smell of egg and bacon throughout the space. So everyone came. Amazing. Yeah, and you can guess what we sold as soon as we opened up for breakfast.
And finally, what general advice would you have to give to artists who are just starting out with a limited budget? What can they do? Where can they start?
You start in your own kitchen at home. It is really that simple. Take away other senses to increase your taste, and then work out what you want from there. I often find that start with things like, what energy would you like to go in there? So if you go in for a high sugar content item, something like dry ingredients and dry goods, so marshmallows and sugars and things that last a long time, is a really good budget friendly way to start. And then implementing it using small vessels such as little test tubes or sweet wrappers that you can wrap your own sweets up, potentially putting flavors onto your ticket. So every single guest is going to get a ticket to a concert anyway, so why don't you make the ticket edible? And therefore you could have a flavor trapped inside the ticket, and part of it is you enter with your ticket, you show it, then you eat it. And therefore you've got, if it had a sugar content or an energy content, you automatically change the dynamic of the crowd because you've just fueled everyone at the very beginning of the concert, and you've actually started to raise the energy even before the music started playing.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you can kind of, get people ready, kind of pre-gamed for the actual show and the live event by these kind of smaller elements, before they even enter the venue.
Oh, for sure. And you can do it at the other end of the, so as people are leaving, or you get people to walk around the crowd, or you administer items such as chamomile sweets or mint sweets so that you can aid digestion. So if people have had some drinks or lots to eat, or they've like indulged, you can then send them away with a more settled digestive system so that by the time they get home, their body feels well-rounded. So they've actually had a better experience because they're not feeling uncomfortable because they've overindulged. So by the time they get home, the last taste that they've experienced makes them in a pleasant mind frame, which the following day means they've enjoyed the concert even more.
Yeah, that's amazing. Adam, you've given us lots of food for thought. Do you see what I've just done there? That was a very poor joke on my part. But for more information on Adam's work and for what Revelland do, you can go to discoverrevelland.today to join the community and to sign up to the newsletter.